Hi, my name is David. I'm in Taiwan and this is Taiwan in English. It's day 2 of Holiday Pie Week, so I'm back with my friends at Jasubi, and today we will be making pumpkin pie. Okay, not really pumpkin pie, but delicious all the same. Pumpkins are a type of squash, and squash, contrary to what you might think, are fruits, meaning pumpkin pie is a fruit pie. That hurts my head a little bit. Anyway, back on track. All squash tastes similar and can be used to make pumpkin pie. So if you can't find pumpkin, you can use really any type of squash. Or you can use sweet potato. Sweet potato pies are also amazing. Now for today, I couldn't decide which type of pie I wanted to make. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use all three. We're gonna mix them together. We're gonna make a pumpkin, squash, sweet potato pie. The first thing that we have to do is we have to make a puree. To make a puree, we need to cut these up, put a little oil on them, and throw them in the oven for about an hour at 220 degrees C. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these cut up now. When you're cutting up pumpkin, I like to go down the middle, and then we'll scoop out the seeds in just a moment. But it's pretty simple. We're gonna want them to be roughly the same size. Again, I'm not an expert, I'm just an English teacher. Scoop this part out. If you happen to find some seeds in the squash, you can set those aside and you can also bake them. Once they're baked, they taste an awful lot like popcorn. With the sweet potatoes, we're just going to cut them into little discs, and that should be fine for the oven. Now with the large squash like this part here, this part that goes to the vine, this turns into something very woody. You're probably not going to want that, so I tend to cut that off. This part down here, you can cut it off or you can leave it. It's not really going to make that much of a difference. But again, sharp knife shouldn't be too much difficulty. And here you see it has the seeds that you can take out and you can roast them later. I'll go ahead and cut the rest of this up, and then we'll come back and we'll put it in the oven for about an hour. Once you have everything cut up, the next thing to do is to cover everything with oil. So we need to get some oil. This is just an olive oil, nothing particularly special. It doesn't have to be a crazy amount of oil, just enough so that everything gets covered. Get in there with your hands and just make sure all the surfaces are covered with oil. Once all the surfaces are covered, just take a single layer on some baking sheets, and then we'll put it in the oven about 200 degrees Celsius for about an hour, or until they are soft. Well, the oven just turned off, so let's check and see if everything's done roasting. You'll know that it's done roasting if you can put in a knife easily. Check a couple different ones. Looks like everything is done. Go ahead and take them out. You can see the pumpkin seeds turned into a nice golden brown color. Put those to the side. To turn these roasted vegetables into a puree, the first thing you have to do is you have to mash them in some way. I like to use a thing like this called a ricer. What you do is you take the fruit of the vegetable, you put it in there, and then you just squeeze it down. Now you don't want to use the skin, but any of this darkened part is perfectly fine. Just adds to the flavor a little bit. Now once you've got an amount in there that you're happy with, you can just put the plunger in there, and then it's better to do this inside of a bowl, but I want you to be able to see it on camera, so we're going to try it up here. You see that everything just comes out the sides in a nice little strings. There'll be a little bit left inside, and any skin or anything that you may have missed will just stay inside. And you put this into a separate bowl. Then once we have all of this done, I'll come back and I will show you the next step in making our pumpkin squash sweet potato pie. All right, we've got our pie crust out of the oven, ready to put the filling together. Now before we can put the filling together, we need to separate a few eggs. So separating eggs is a pretty easy process. You want to crack the egg, and then you're going to want to transfer it back and forth, getting the white out of the egg, but keeping the yolk separate. So once you get the yolk, put it in there. We're going to need 3 of them. We're also going to need 1 regular egg. Now we need to add the pumpkin puree that we made earlier. This is 450 grams. It goes straight in there. Then we have sweetened condensed milk. This is 14 ounces of sweetened condensed milk, and again, it's just going to go straight in. And then we're going to need a little bit of cinnamon, nutmeg, and Chinese 5-spice. This is one I picked up the other day. You really just need like a pinch of this, and then a little bit of salt. And that goes in as well. Then we need to start mixing it. Now I'm going to start mixing it with the spatula, but we're probably going to need to change over to a whisk to make sure that everything gets incorporated nicely and evenly. So once this starts to get incorporated, we'll switch over to a whisk and we can just mix it up. Once that's done, we'll pull out our blind baked pie crust. Back to our spatula, pour it right in there. Be careful not to overfill it. You can see that it's right up to the edge of the crust. This is going to rise a little bit while it's cooking, but then it'll fall back down once you take it out of the oven. That's where it goes now, into the oven. So I'll see you in just a moment. Pie is finished, pumpkin pie. Now if you remember, we pulled out some seeds and we roasted them along with the pumpkin pie. So I'm just going to sprinkle some of the seeds on top of the pumpkin pie. They're not going to stick, but it will be nice. So let's go ahead and give this a slice up and see how we did. And that's going to be it for today. Before you go, if you liked the video or you learned something, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss anything. And as always, if you have any questions or just want to say hi, leave a comment, or you can find me on social media, links below. And I'll see you in the next exciting episode of Taiwan in English. Bye.